Hi, welcome along to DR Sports. We are here. It's a bit of we say breaking news. I'm sure a lot of people will be already aware of this because the game is about to kick off at this time. Is that the game versus Everton and Liverpool has been postponed due to the adverse weather that we're having here in the UK. I've got AGT from the COP TV joining me for this. Obviously, this is very, very relevant to him. Just before we get into it, let me just read you some of the information that's come out regarding the game. Merseyside derby between Everton and Liverpool at Goodison Park has been postponed on safety grounds because of the severe weather caused by Storm Dara. That is the storm that is blowing up right across the UK at the moment as we speak. I woke up this morning and I can tell you the weather was absolutely atrocious. My son's football game had been cancelled even from the previous day because they knew this was coming. There's an amber weather warning for strong weather conditions, which was issued for Merseyside on Saturday morning amid disruptive conditions across the UK. And the game has been called off after a meeting between both clubs and representatives of Merseyside Police and Liverpool City Council. And the quotes coming out regard this, and this was from an Everton statement. They said, whilst we appreciate that this will be deeply disappointing for supporters, the safety of the fans, staff and players is of paramount importance. And Liverpool, they issued a statement as well where they said the decision has been reached due to the risk of safety in the local area. And certainly the weather is bad, but the game, massive game, which would have been shown right around the world, has been cancelled. AGT, you as a Liverpool fan, obviously this was a big game today, very, very important in the title race. The fact that this was also going to be the last Merseyside derby played in the Premier League before Everton move into their new stadium. Last one played at Goodison Park, should I say. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's massively disappointing from a fan point of view because obviously everyone was ready to watch this game. We had a watch-along planned on the COP TV from the studio. I had a guest, Adam Morgan, who used to play for Liverpool. He was on the train down, had to get off at Crewe and then go back to Liverpool. Doyle obviously gutted that we're not doing the watch-along as well. So from a fan's point of view, from a content creator's point of view, it's really disappointing. From a Liverpool point of view, I mean, there's pluses and minuses to this. There's advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage is that, you know, now it allows Arsenal and Manchester City to have an opportunity to play their
Chelsea,
games.
not forgetting Chelsea.
And Chelsea, as you said on Thursday. It allows them all to play a game and actually creep a little bit closer to Liverpool. I'm assuming all those teams win. So it creates that. But the advantage, you could argue, is that, you know, McAllister was due to miss this game with a suspension. He'll now miss Girona and Fulham. Alisson, the goalkeeper, has been injured. So maybe he comes back in the rearranged fixture, as does Jota. You know, so there's a few advantages on that side. Liverpool,
Konate could be back for it.
Konate could be now back for it. And when we find out the date of this rearranged fixture, it'll obviously give us a bit more clarity over who's going to be available for it. But it's gutting. But of course, you have to look at the safety. I mean, my girlfriend, as people on here know, I live in Liverpool. I'm actually in London now. I was about to go in and do the stream in the studio, but I spoke to her this morning. And there's trees all over the place in the city centre. There's, you know, road blockages, you know, in the Queen's Drive in West Derby, it's really bad. You know, obviously we've got a dog as well, and we're on the 6th, 7th floor in the building. So it's not nice to hear me think it's fireworks night all over again with the noise and the swirling. So safety has to come first. You know, safety is paramount. You know, there's been people that have flown from Australia for this game. I saw an article earlier.
I saw that
an
guy.
Everton fan. So
yeah.
unlucky for him, but but at the same time, listen, you have to take safety as paramount. And I'm actually surprised, Rob, that this decision wasn't made last night. I mean, we heard that the Welsh Premier League games were all called off today from yesterday. We heard this morning that the races at the Aintree racecourse were called off, and that's only about 5 or 6 miles from Goodison Park. So that was obviously a moment where you think actually this derby might get cancelled. So it was 50-50 up until maybe 8 o'clock this morning. It's obviously got a lot worse, and hopefully the storm passes. I mean, look, I'll put this question to you. Was there an option to maybe move this game to a later point today, which allows the time for the storm to pass? There's obviously question marks about when this game is going to play again now, and it can't be tomorrow because Liverpool have got Champions League on Tuesday. And if I'm looking at the fixture list, Rob, I don't even know where this game is going to fit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're right. Listen, first of all, I agree with you. Listen, when safety of football fans comes first, and the players as well, right? And certainly even me, like, obviously I'm down south, right? The weather was horrible down here. And when I woke up this morning, when I saw them saying that where it's particularly bad at the moment is places like Wales. Anybody who knows geography knows that Liverpool's not far from North Wales. So I was like, ooh.
Yeah, true.
I was like, I wonder if that's going to affect that game. And then the news came through that the game had been cancelled. You are right. Could they not have made the decision from last night? As I said, even my son's game, which was, local to where I live, that was being cancelled from last night. They were just like, listen, we see this weather that's coming. These amber warnings and red warnings have been issued around the country from yesterday. So we all knew it was coming. So could they have made that decision from last night? But listen, maybe they're trying to see if there's a possibility. It's a massive game. They're trying to see if there's a possibility of it being played. Is there never any flexibility that says we can move the game later? Because when I looked at the weather forecast yesterday, all of it said that this was going to sort of start from about 1 a.m. last night and be carrying on till about midday today. The worst of it in the areas that are being hit the worst, right? So could they not have said to themselves, all right, let's move that fixture out a little later? Because as far as I know, the games, all those games like Manchester United's game tonight, for instance, which, Manchester's not far away from Liverpool, that game's still on. And that's being played at 5:30. Yeah. Could they not have been looking maybe at the flexibility of moving that game? I don't know, you know what I mean? Because it's not just the fact that all the staff have to then come in at different times. We've also have the issue of policing. And these sort of games, Everton versus Liverpool, you need a lot of police for a game like that. Going to have to
more
change
time to drink as well for the fans.
And then there's the fact of, excuse me, there's a fact of when are they going to rearrange this game for? Because there's a fixture congestion already for teams like Liverpool. I mean, I'm just going off for like Arsenal's fixtures at the moment, and I'm sure Liverpool's exactly the same because they're both in the same competitions, a Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. During December, I can't see when they're going to fit this game in because, literally at the moment, you've got games every 3 days, 4 days, right up until the end of the year. Then we get to January, still got a couple of Champions League games because of how now this competition has grown with the amount of games. And you've got the FA Cup. We've even got Premier League games that are going to be played midweek in January. So when are they going to fit this game in? And I want to put it out there to people, especially Liverpool fans, and I'm putting it to you as well. AGT, you've just sort of been discussing it. Is this an advantage or a disadvantage for Liverpool? Like AGT said, some of the advantages is McAllister will be back because he would have been suspended for this game. Very important player. Konate could be back depending on when the game's played, but I'm looking at, I can't see how this game gets played before the end of January. Surely that gives enough time for Konate, Alisson, players like that to come back. But is it an advantage? I mean, got some comments coming in there. Super chat here from Sasito who says, good for Liverpool, some rest. And we'll have the players back from injury. Playing Everton in this weather would have been very, very tricky. That is true. Everton, good on set pieces, direct. I think Sean Dyche would have been rubbing his hands and saying, yeah, swirling wind. Literally, you know what I mean? Anything that gives a little edge to Everton that suits their game and doesn't suit Liverpool's game may have helped. So that could be an advantage. Sadiq, though, says, big up to you guys. A game getting cancelled when you're in form is not a good thing. I remember the season 22-23 October when the Queen died and Arsenal versus City was cancelled. That's very true. It can knock your momentum as well. You know what I mean? You're in form, you're playing well. Game gets cancelled. Who knows that, you know, you may hit a little bit of off form by the time you come to play Everton. Everton might be playing well by that time. We don't know. You know what I mean? That's the other thing. These are, you know, Liverpool are on form at the moment. I know they had dropped a couple of points the other day, but in general, they've been on form. Could that form change? Lee Murphy says more time for the lads to rest, and Liverpool will play while other teams play in the Champions League playoffs. Don't Liverpool still win the Premier League? That is another good shout from Lee Murphy. That's true. Liverpool, as it stands, they're more or less qualified. Did you say to me the other day they've qualified already?
I think if we beat Girona on Tuesday, we're the first team to basically not have to do anything else to qualify.
No playoffs, right? Which then,
so it's still
like
an
you said,
game.
Yeah, but then that would only really be a thing if, you know, that's not really going to be a thing, I don't think, because you're playing Everton, who will still be rested for the game. Yeah. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, one of those teams that obviously that are trying to, you know, chase down Liverpool, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, maybe it could be a bit of an advantage because Arsenal now know, and Chelsea know, and Manchester City know tomorrow now, win your game and you've closed in on Liverpool. They've got that game in hand, but everybody knows that when you're being chased, sometimes you just want them points on the board. When you got them points on the board and you're clear, I feel that if those teams win their games tomorrow, and I'm talking about my team now, Arsenal. If we say Arsenal won our game, we are now 4 points behind Liverpool, right? Now, listen, they got the game in hand. But psychologically, it's a bit of added pressure for Liverpool because then they now know, let's just say, for instance, Liverpool were to then drop points in another game, could be like a point behind. And then all of a sudden, Liverpool now under extreme pressure to win that game against Everton. But then it could work the other way. You know what I mean? Teams could lose and then Liverpool win that game. We've got a massive advantage. So, but I don't know. That's how I look on it. I look on it and I think to myself, it's a little bit of an advantage to the chasing pack because they know that if they win that game, it's a little bit of added pressure for Liverpool. How do you feel about that, AGT?
Yeah, it is. In that way, it is a disadvantage to Liverpool because I'd rather have played the game and have the game in hand because then that game becomes even more pressurized than if you did play it on time. So, yeah, it's a good opportunity now for Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City to close that gap to maybe 4 points. And then if you're 4 points away, you know, then you can say, well, there's not really a massive gap at all. So, do you know what? I can't actually make my mind up yet if this is a good or bad thing for Liverpool. If I'm really honest with you, Robbie, if I'm really, really truthful with you, right? I did not fancy that Dyche ball in the wind, early kickoff, after a draw away against Newcastle. I didn't really fancy it. With a big number of injuries as well, I didn't really fancy it.
Don't fancy a cold, breezy day up on Merseyside, wind blowing.
I mean, I get that most days, to be honest. So I'm happy to have a day without that.
Why do you go to Liverpool then? You know, it's always raining up there.
No, it's always raining in Manchester, not Liverpool. So yeah, there's that. Arsenal, if they win tomorrow, will get a big boost now because Liverpool haven't played. But what can we do? It's Mother Nature, right? It's an act of God, as people say. So there's nothing we can physically do about it. But at the same time, would I have rejoiced in winning today? Of course I would have. But with the way we defended and obviously the way that Everton played the other night as well, there's a part of me that goes, actually, I'm quite happy we're not playing today because then we can get Alisson, Jota, Konate, and all the rest of them back. So,
all right. Well, what about this one?
We'll have to see.
Throwing this one in there as well. Again, all those teams around you win. Arsenal win, Arsenal win, Chelsea win, City win. Then you've got to play that game against Everton midweek now.
Yeah.
Night game. You know what I mean? Like night game under the lights. Goodison is popping. You know what I mean? Maybe they've had a few good wins and then you got to go there at night. I don't know, man. I remember it was a couple of seasons ago. We went there at night, right? Remember that? It's a Monday night, man. Horrible weather in that game as well. And they turned us over. And that place, I'll tell you, Goodison's one of those grounds, right, that you have to silence the crowd.
Yeah.
If they get that place
before
popping
they start
in there,
booing,
man,
yeah.
I'm telling you, right, that place, it goes either way, don't it?
Yeah.
Like if you silence them, you can have a great day there. But it is one of those grounds, old school grounds. Fans are really close to the pitch. Evertonians are really passionate fans, great fans, I think. You know what I mean? AGT may not agree with me because of the rivalry.
No, they are good fans.
But they're great fans.
They're not booing, yeah.
If they get their head of steam up, and we all know that night games are games when, you know, if the home team, I almost feel like that's the atmosphere is going to be better on a night game than it would have been on a 12:30 kickoff with horrible weather. What do you think to that, AGT?
For them, it might have been, yeah. I would have played, or I would have preferred to have played. I mean, we don't get derbies at 3 o'clock. You don't get them anymore. They're either 12:30, 5:30, or Sunday 2 or 4 o'clock. We don't really get Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs when it's derbies as well. So, yeah, it will advantage to Everton. I think when you're the home team and you're playing in these situations in a derby under the lights, as you say, the fans, they can get really on top. By the way, there's this guy called Chris Chino in the chat, right, who's making Hillsborough jokes. Like, he's got to go. I'm not having that whatsoever. Talking about an Irish slave club, he's got to go. So block that idiot right now, Rob. I'm not having that. He's called Chris Chino in the chat, and he thinks he's getting away with it, but he's not. So let's get him blocked because that's just disgraceful.
Oh, that's disgusting, whoever he is.
Making Hillsborough jokes and that. You're an absolute disgrace. Sorry, that's just throwing me off a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's
we banned him from the chat. If you're coming in there, come in there with respect. If you come in there with that sort of stuff,
you're getting banned. Never coming back on again.
Yeah. Not only that, we might just report you to the police because that's actually 100%. That's actually something that, you know, people getting banned from football for. So mate, you need to be very careful what you're posting. Not everything's a joke. That is definitely not a joke. So don't be coming there with that. That's a disgrace. Let me get into some decent super chats here. Guna Girl 13 says, bad for Arsenal. Everton's week's rest before our game. That's true, right? Or do Everton want to rest? Wouldn't they want to be getting? I don't think teams, when you've got a week before your next game, want to rest. I think those Everton players would have been pumped for that game. And if you actually speak to a lot of players, I've spoken to a lot of players on this, and sometimes they want to play. They don't want to rest. I mean, listen, if you had that game, midweek game, then another, we get that. But, you know, Saturday to Saturday,
what's funny?
They want to play.
Do you know what's funny, right? If this fixture was a week ago, after we'd just beaten Man City and Everton had just lost 4-0 to Man United, there's no way they would have wanted this game to go ahead. But because we drew and they won 4-0, they're all going, we should have played today. We're on good form.
Below says that Goodison each won exactly 41 games.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. It's amazing stat I saw the other day.
It would have been the last ever Goodison derby and the winner takes all kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Rudy Can't Game says, glad I woke up at 7 a.m. to not watch football. Yeah, I know. But think of that fan, as AGT said, who traveled 10,000 miles to watch the game only for it to be cancelled. I feel sorry for that guy. And there would have been others as well. I know Liverpool got loads of fans from the Far East and from Australia and places like that. There would have been a lot of fans.
You know what, though? If that guy from Australia is still in Liverpool and he wants to see a proper team, I'll get Mario to give him a tour of Anfield if he wants whilst he's still over.
I don't think he'd be up for that. Kusta says, Klopp summoned the weather gods to derail Schlott. You can't have him winning the league in his first year. Big up to you both. Glad you're all safe. I like that one.
That was a good
I wonder what Klopp's feelings are on that. You know what I mean? That, like, this guy could come along in his first year and just win it.
I think he'd be really happy because a lot of the thanks would be to Klopp for leaving him such a good team. But we can't talk about that. It's still,
Yeah.
I know, and also Klopp.
Listen, Klopp loves Liverpool. I don't think
Yeah.
he'll fall away.
Do you know what as
Rizwan
well?
Khan, yeah, sorry.
The funny thing is as well, we all know Klopp hated these 12:30 kickoffs.
Yeah, so maybe he did come in it.
He's probably got his feet up, little cigarette, thinking, right, this could happen for me, you know.
Yeah, Rizwan Khan says the next available spot for this game is between the Wolves and Bournemouth away and City away in February, mixed in with a Champions League game. You don't really want that in between City away, do you?
No, and that's probably what will happen. It'll be typical Liverpool, Everton, then City again. So yeah, they must be scratching their heads right now.
You wouldn't want that, would you? You wouldn't want that.
Whoever's in charge, like we don't actually know who's in charge of sorting out these rearranged fixtures, but whoever that is, I would not want to be them right now.
If it's the TV companies, right, got anything to do with it, that's going right in between that and the City game, right?
Well,
so because you know those guys on TV, what they do, right? They're writing storylines. So they're like, oh, they go to Everton, drop a point, and then City could get back into it. Yeah, that's the one. That's the fixture. That's how they work. That's how they work.
Well, it would have, because it's a derby, it would still have to be a 12:30, and we haven't got any Saturdays free. Or it would have to be an 8 o'clock on a Monday.
It won't be a weekend game now. So it definitely won't be a weekend game. It'll be a midweek game, won't it?
So it would be a Monday night, 8 o'clock?
Yeah. Or the only way I think they could do it would be like if both of you got knocked out of the FA Cup, which that ain't going to happen.
Accrington Stanley.
With the draws that you've got. So that game's going to be, I don't think it'll be a Monday night game as well. That's going to be a midweek game. It's going to be a Wednesday night game, Tuesday, Wednesday. Shaquille Oatmeal says a fixture could be played between City away and Newcastle at home.
See, that's what I mean. That's why it's a disadvantage, because you look at what it could be sandwiched in between. But I'd like to ask Liverpool fans in the chat right now. Maybe we can do a poll as well. Is this an advantage or a disadvantage? Because you can argue both sides. Advantage because Everton are in form. Liverpool have drawn the last game. We've got injuries. But a disadvantage because, you know, it's going to be sandwiched in between maybe Newcastle and City, and it gives it gives Arsenal, Chelsea and City a chance to catch up a bit more. So people in the chat, it's 50-50 right now, isn't it? People saying
Psychedelic Badger says when the game eventually does get played, we'll be 15 points clear anyway. So all this under the light stuff is irrelevant. Up the Reds.
My brother, big up Badger.
Points clear. But then also, listen, Psychedelic Badger, right? Also, you've got to take into the account that if all those teams were to win tomorrow in the chasing pack, Arsenal and Chelsea, for instance, could be within 4 points. Now, that's striking distance, isn't it? That's how they'll be looking. I mean, for me now, 100%. That game against Fulham tomorrow for Arsenal is even more important to win that, because all of a sudden, we've seen this. We see this even in run-ins where it's like all the permutations starting to come into it. You know what I mean? Or if they lose that one, and suppose they go there and only get a point. And I mean, it adds, as a player, it adds pressure. You always hear all these managers saying we'd rather the points on the board than these games in hand, you know?
We would. That's the one game you don't really want in hand as well. The derby. You don't really want to be waiting.
The game in hand. You want that game in hand against Southampton or something like that. You know what I mean?
If this, with all due respect, right, if this game was, let's say, Wolves at home or Ipswich at home, I don't think the uproar and the furore around it would have been as intense. But because it's Everton and because it's the last Goodison derby, you know, all the presenters were there. They were in the truck ready for work this morning. They don't know when this game is going to be played. And because it's the derby, like I said, you just don't really want that game in the back pocket. You just want to get it in and out as soon as possible.
Ashley Pascoe says, what happens to Maka now? Is he out for Fulham? That's McAllister talking about.
He's out for Girona in the Champions League, which, you know, obviously we've got players that can step in. And he'll be out for Fulham now as well. So
why is he out for Girona?
Because it's 2 games. It can be any competitions. It's 2 games.
Even when you, what do you get?
He got 7 yellows, which means a 2-game ban.
That includes the Champions League. He never used to.
Yeah. So he was going to miss Everton and Girona and be ready for Fulham. Now he's going to miss Fulham.
Is that home or away?
Home. The Fulham game. And if they beat Arsenal tomorrow, we could be looking at a tough game at Anfield next week.
Listen, they're a good side. Saka's older brother says 7 points will turn to 4 points.
Could do. It probably will. But make sure you win. Make sure you win.
Yeah. The pressure's on. The pressure's on. The pressure's on every game. Arsenal already counting the points like they beat Fulham already. No, we're not. Definitely not. I see this as a big mistake. Hope Emil Smith-Rowe steps up. Well, if you were listening to me, what I am saying is if I use the word if on all occasions.
Football,
because that is a very, very difficult game. Numero uno says this Robbie guy needs to pipe down and stop being negative towards Liverpool. Have I been negative towards Liverpool in what I've been saying?
No, you haven't.
Why would he think that Liverpool drop points on a rearranged game? Look at the positives, mate. Well,
that's what we're trying to do.
Numero uno, I'm not a Liverpool fan. That's number one, right? That, right? But I'm not being negative towards Liverpool. I'm saying, even if that was Arsenal, I'd rather play the game.
100%.
Unless the only way I would have been happy if I was an Arsenal fan for this game to have been cancelled today, say we was playing Spurs at 12:30, would have been if we had a load of injuries. Then I'd be like, oh, brilliant. You know what I mean? Because, and Liverpool, all right, Kanate's out. So that, and again, it could be an advantage. Jota's out. Could be an advantage to Liverpool. We don't know. But then the one thing that you do have to look at is that you do give the chasing pack a chance to close the gap, even though you got the game in hand. You've still got the game in hand. And if you go out there and do your business, it means nothing. But listen, in a game of fine margins, which this is what football is, it's just added pressure. And that's, Arne Slot doesn't want added pressure, and nor do the players at this time, do they?
Do you remember there was a couple seasons ago where, actually it might have been the 2013-14 campaign, where Liverpool were at the top of the league, maybe 5 games to go, and Man City had 2 or 3 games in hand. And from what I can remember, they've been the only team in recent history to have all these games in hand and just get through them without any issue. Everyone's watching and hating along and seeing if they can, if the other team can get a result. Man City with game in hands is a scary sight because they normally win them more.
That's what they did last year. They had games in hand, and every time you're going like the one against Tottenham, that was one of their games in hand.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Perfect example.
Yeah, you're thinking, could they maybe? They've got a good record.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, and then they still got the job done. But it is added pressure because even in that game against Spurs, they weren't at their best, were they? They kind of got through that game. Remember, Son missed that chance. It is, whereas I'm sure they would have just, you got the points on the board. It's the pressure really moves on to the chasing pack. And
also, just to correct myself, he's got 5 yellow cards in the Premier League, which is a 1-game ban. And he's got 3 yellow cards in the Champions League already. So he's got a 1-game ban in the Champions League now as well. I'll tell you what, these Argentinians, they love a yellow card, mate. They love a yellow card.
I know. Who's the other ones, like Romero and all these?
Oh, mate. Rodrigo de Paul in Atleti, they all love a yellow card.
Yeah, man, they love. When I really found out about Argentinian players, right, is when in the World Cup, when I was going. Remember, I was designated on all the Argentinian games, right, and they don't mess about. That game when they was playing against the Netherlands, and I can't remember which player it is, launched the ball into the bench.
Yeah, and then Van Dijk went, it
all went mad. I tell you, I was just like, I like these Argentinian guys, man.
I saw them at the World Cup against. Was it I think it might have been Mexico. When Enzo scored that screamer from outside the box and Messi scored as well. I was at that game. And I think there must have been about 9 yellow cards.
Messi's about the only guy who doesn't get a yellow card.
He's so protected. They don't let him get a yellow. He's so protected from the
Buster's Ketchup says, we've got it all in our hands, in Robbie's voice. He says,
not really, unfortunately. It's in Mother Nature's hands at the minute, Mustard.
It definitely is not in our hands, I'll tell you that. Kusta Fote, again with another super chat. He says, Robbie, wasn't it last year that City had a game in hand while going for the title, and we still came up short? This worries me as an Arsenal fan. Do you see something different from this year's squad? as we go for the league. Well, you are right. We were just talking about that, and it does things to different teams, doesn't it? There's some teams that, but I do definitely feel it adds pressure, because even in that game, I felt that pressure nearly got to them. They got over the line in the end, but it nearly got to them. They scraped that win, didn't they? So, and that's what them games in hand does sometimes, because it's just that you see the relief of players when they get the win or they get that goal in those games. You know what I mean? The pressure's kind of off. Rob, another name, says the way AGT parts his hair, you know he's afraid of most things. What's that got to do with it?
I don't know what that.
A hat trick in February is how we will say goodbye to Goodison. Early Christmas gift.
So hang on, are you a Liverpool fan or not?
He's obviously a Liverpool fan.
And Rob and other names, have you got hair, or are you just jealous? Let me know in the chat.
That's why Arnie Slot has got his hair like that. You know what I mean? You can't see no pressure on him. I have to say with that guy, he never changes, does he? You don't know what he's thinking, because he never looks stressed. He just always stays the same.
Yeah, and that's why at the minute we're loving his demeanor and his way, and the tone of his intonations when he's in his press conferences. It all seems very, calm, composed, relaxed. Whereas Klopp,
Klopp, isn't he?
Bro, you sometimes in a press conference, you could be 30 seconds away from a Klopp bomb where he says something absolutely mad, and you go, "Where's that come from?" But with Arne Slot, listen, he's making a few more jokes now. I don't know if you saw the joke he made the other day about Man City.
Yeah. That was funny.
Like I like that, because he said, "Oh, Mo, it might be the last time he plays against City because they might be getting relegated." Like, that's funny. You got to admit. And then after he says, "Look, it's a joke," so he doesn't get in any trouble. He says it's a joke. So
on the other hand, right?
Coming through.
On the other hand, did you see? You must have seen the video of Pep Guardiola absolutely losing his head when that Scouser said, "What did he say? Man. Just because you lost me?
Just because you lost me?" Hold that. That's actually from. So it was, the Twitter community notes when it says fake news. So that wasn't after us beating City the other day. That was after City lost the FA Cup final to Man United in May or June or wherever it was.
Oh, was it?
So So he's obviously going into his hotel.
How does it only just come out now?
I don't know. I don't know why someone's kept that clip for so long, but he goes, he lost his head, mate. He has lost his head. Lost it.
You don't like losing that guy. Even when he held up the 6 the other day, I was thinking, bro, you could tell he don't. He don't.
He was right though. They had lost 6 out of 7 at the time, so he was right.
Tom says Gravenberg 4 yellows, get one again versus Fulham, and he missed Spurs away.
And do you know what? He probably would have been booked today. So
probably when you watch our Spurs are playing at the moment, I'm not too sure that would matter anyway, right? You know what I mean? Because you could probably put AGT in the middle of the pot, and
I definitely would have got a yellow.
The way they're so easy to play through, I don't know if you really need a defensive midfielder in that game.
That is my position, Rob. So I would have been up for it if they called. Yeah.
Is that what you play?
CDM, man. Yeah. When people say, what kind of player were you like? I would, and I still do play every week. I would say a right-footed Nemanja Matic. Yeah. Just a big lad. Can't get round him. Loves a bit of a yellow card. Loves a bit of a red card.
I've seen you play, man.
You've seen me play. I'm good, man. Go on.
Matic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Craig Alfred.
Man.
Everton's next game is now Arsenal. It's an advantage. The only people putting pressure and saying it's a disadvantage are Sky and I think he means AFTV, and the rest. AGT needs to be a believer, not a doubter.
I'm not saying. Have you listened to this show though, Craig? I've given you the pluses and the minuses, the advantages, the disadvantages. And then we ask you, what's your opinion? So it's not about being a doubter to believer. Like, I've just told you what the good and bad bits about it are. So I believe. I still think we're going to win the league. How's that for belief, Craig? Yeah?
Believe.
You sausage.
At least you ain't going to get no cooking on Monday anyway. Right?
Yeah. Impossible.
The cooking will just come on a Thursday night. You know what I mean? Rizwan says AGT will be Double G's chest out on Monday's show. Yeah, no cooking for AGT. He's going to be able to kick back and just.
You know what? Yeah, if If Spurs do a madness tomorrow, if Fulham do a madness tomorrow, there's no AGT cookings, mate. You're getting cooked with Matthijs as well.
That's true. Yeah? Listen, Fulham.
Hold that.
Fulham, very impressive, I thought, against Tottenham. Impressive win against Brighton. And also, Fulham beat us last year at the Cottage. Beat us well as well. Like that was one beating last year that we suffered where there's no, when you get them defeats where there's no excuses. You just like some games you could be like, yeah, man, we had a man sent off, or we had this. Or that one is one of those where you come out of the game, right? And you just go like this.
Fair play, yeah.
Like,
put your weapons down.
Rock up, right? And I remember we went 1-0 up and they were outstanding on that day.
Yeah.
And they play with a lot of confidence at the moment, but so are Arsenal. Arsenal playing with a lot of confidence. I'm hoping that Gabriel will be back for that game as well tomorrow, and Calafiori. Those two might be back in for that game, which would be great news for Arsenal. But in no way is that an easy game, because last season we took 1 point off of them. We drew with them at home, right? And we lost to them away. So that, of all the London clubs last year, they gave us the hardest game. So that is going to be a really London derby. And the pressures, I'm talking about pressure on Liverpool when they come back to play Everton. Pressure's on us. But in all honesty, the pressure was on us anyway to win that game because we're in the chasing pack. But if you do win that game now, all of a sudden, you know what it's like, AGT. You start to do the maths. And if they slip
get the calculator out,
get so, the out. Edward Joseph 1808 says pressure is on for tyres.
Pressure is for tyres. Yeah,
for tyres.
Okay.
Pressure is for tyres.
Yeah, Alan Shearer said it.
Till the rest catch up, there's no pressure. Stating it doesn't make it so it's advantage Liverpool. Deal with it, but there's a little bit of pressure, Edward, man. You know what I mean? If come Monday. 4 point, and the thing is as well, it's not just if it's one team that's breathing down your neck. When you got two, I feel that's what I've always felt with some of the title races over the last few years. If you've got a few teams breathing down your neck, it's even harder, because sometimes it could be like, all right, Arsenal slip up, but suppose Chelsea don't, or Chelsea slip up, but Arsenal don't, or what if all three, Chelsea, Arsenal, City all win?
Yeah.
You got three teams breathing down your neck. That is pressure. It's still early in the season. Ain't like we're running out of games. I don't think Arne Slot would really have wanted this game cancelled, especially with the amount of fixtures that are coming up. That's just my opinion. Kaiser Franz says, breaking news. Now Kaiser Franz always comes with this John O'Sundley. I need to find out about this person. Wins a cross-country World Cup sprint race in Lillehammer, Norway today. What a win. I love her. What say you? I don't know her, Kaiser Franz, but you know what? You always send in a super chat.
He does.
Talking about John O'Sundlin. I need to do my research, man. You've done it. You've advertised it well.
Are they trying to bait us?
I don't know. Is
it
some sort of German bait? I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
I
don't know what that is.
I'm Googling that. I'm Googling that name right now, right?
Because I remember on Monday, Kaiser said that as well. And I'm like,
and the week before, he's always like, I'm Googling.
Who are you talking about? We don't watch them sports.
It's so random.
Big up then. I don't know. It's crazy. Oh, that is funny, man.
No, John O'Sundlin is a real person. Yeah, a Swedish cross-country skier.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, John O'Sundlin.
I know this is DR Sports, but that's pushing it a bit far, mate.
Yeah, a Swedish, age 29, from Sweden, and looking at a record, an excellent.
Are we really doing this?
Country. I am, man, because he always sends these in, and I had to find my research. She's won a load of gold medals, man. She's good.
Big her up then. Big her up. But what's it got to do with the Merseyside derby getting cancelled?
Well, I don't know, man. But now we're right behind her, man. You know what I mean?
We've got nothing to talk about, so yeah, we might as well. Why not?
Kaiser Franz, who does she support? We need to know. We need to know, Kaiser, right? Who does she support? But you've done it, man. Well, you know what? It's the greatest
shout out.
Brilliant piece of marketing. You've got her into the football community, and now we all want to know who John O'Sundlin is. Everybody go out there and Google it. Has she got a social media? We all going to
Probably.
follow her as well.
Probably. Brilliant. Big up to her, yeah.
Big
I wonder
up,
what
man.
she thinks about the derby getting postponed, Rob.
We need to. Well, I think she was concentrated on trying to win a gold medal. Sud
Yeah.
says, "Big up to Robbie and AGT. Just on Virgil van Dijk, Salah, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. The Gooner in me wants them to leave. I hope that they finish their career in Liverpool as a football fan."
Yeah, big up to you, Suj. I like that.
No,
they're all
Suj,
being very coy, so we'll see what happens.
Suj, we need them to leave, man. They've got to go. They're too good. These guys are too good, man. We need them out.
At least you can admit it.
Nah, they are. Listen, 3 world-class players, really. When I think about it,
of course.
Virgil van Dijk, world-class, been one of the best centre-backs ever in this league.
Yeah.
Salah, world-class, been one of the best players. Those two, Virgil van Dijk and Salah, full stop, have been one of the best players this league has ever seen.
Facts.
End of.
And
no
Trent.
bias,
Trent's
no
the
nothing.
right back.
End of. Trent Alexander-Arnold as a right back, even though sometimes I criticise his defending, but as a player, one of the best players this league has seen. Like when you go and you watch him live.
I mean, that pass for Salah
some of the passes that guy does, I'm just like, it's ridiculous. Like how can he? There's some players in this league. Him, Odegaard. Actually, you know what? Let me take Odegaard out of it. There's some players in this league, right, that I watch play sometimes. I'm just like, yo, you know what? They're playing against me, but I'm actually enjoying watching him play.
Yeah.
De Bruyne is another one.
Yeah.
You see him play, it's like, hey, this guy just... He's so good.
Yeah.
And he falls into that category. He's a great player. So personally, I want them all gone. Right.
Of course you do. I want them all to stay. How about that?
Gone, man. I want to see them from a distance, man. I don't want to see these men play there, man. They're too good.
Oh man. They're all staying, hopefully.
But if you're neutral, you want them all to stay. Do you think they'll all stay?
I think Salah and Virgil, I think it could be quite imminent, their contract announcements. And despite what everyone else says, I do think Trent stays. I do. I asked someone who I'm not even going to name, who's very close to Trent, on Wednesday night what they think, and they said they think he's going to stay. And they're like family close, not family officially, but family friends. So yeah, I'm hoping still. I'm hoping hopium, whatever you want. But
no, the same friends that told you that, you know, you got the shout from the Bellingham's coming through him as well. And Bellingham, yeah, it's the same friends. Anyway, let me move on.
Different friend.
Dorfino says, I actually think statistically being ahead against multiple contenders makes the leader's position easier. Okay, that's a great slant on it, especially when they've already played the next 4 teams in the table and only dropped points to one of them. Interesting.
Big up Turkish in the chat. AGT ITK. It's a mouthful to say that, you know. But yeah,
Turkish actually here.
Yeah, Turkish. Big him up, man.
Turkish, I need to get your... What's he say? I'd love to know Turkish's slant on it. Whether he feels that it's good, or would he have rather the Merseyside derby to have taken place today?
Let's spin it though, right? Let's say this was Arsenal-Tottenham today, or let's go Tottenham-Arsenal because it was away for Liverpool. What would your reaction have been if you woke up this morning after those teams were supposed to play the early kickoff? How would you have reacted if you were in Liverpool's position?
I would have been gutted because I would have wanted to play the game.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't. I would rather play Tottenham 12:30 kickoff than go there on a night game and play them.
Yeah,
I think.
Agreed.
And I know, listen, people will be out there saying it makes no difference. As a person who goes to loads of games, yeah, when you have big games at night, the atmosphere is a little different. The other night, when that first goal went in for Arsenal, it was absolutely electric. It's a little bit different, just naturally, to 12:30 kickoffs. I don't know what it is, but it's just that nighttime light, places under lights and that. I don't know. It just adds. I don't know if you agree with me, AGT, but it just adds a little.
It does. And Turkish in the chat there saying the game should have gone ahead. Bit of wind and they pull out. The game's done. Bro, this is extreme.
Why did I know
form,
the
bro.
Turkish would say that? That's what I
Turkish is
love,
obviously
man.
going to say that. Big him up, man. Big him up.
That would be, you know what, right? That's what I love that guy, right? Because that will be him, and he'll actually mean it as well. Look,
No, he
he'll
will.
look outside his window and he go, "Look
He's
at that."
shaking his head. Yeah.
A little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, and these Scousers don't want to play. You go, they're soft. Yeah, it's true. You know what? On that, I thought you lot were supposed to be hard up there.
Bro, what can we do? There's a
Hard
storm.
up north, you know what I mean? A little bit of rain.
90-degree winds, 90 miles an hour winds. Are you crazy?
A little breeze blowing through there. You know what I mean? The Scousers don't want to play. What's going on?
If Turkish went up there, his hat would have flown off back to London, mate.
Liam McBride says, what a big you both up. I watch DR Sports every week and I love the banter all the way from Australia. I'm coming over next season. I need to get tickets. Who do you support, mate? It is hard to get tickets for Premier League.
Are you the Everton fan that's come from Australia?
Oh, my. I honestly feel sorry for that guy, man. I feel it for him. Honestly, I don't. Come on, man. Where's your heart?
No, listen, big him up,
all
man.
the way from Australia.
Yeah, but if the club had any spirit about them, they'd say, "Go on, we'll sort you out your flight and your ticket for the next game." If the club really wanted to do that, they would.
No Premier League club, especially Everton, who are skint at the moment, ain't sorting out no ticket for no fact. They'll sort out the ticket. They ain't sorted out that flight. That's for sure. Matthew Harris says, "Big up, fellas, top contenders for the title. Maybe one of them players. That'd be a nice gesture, right?
Yeah." The Everton player should do a little whip round, right? Get his flight back, make sure he's in the box.
Come on, Everton players, man. You're all on at least, even the smallest player there is on at least 30, 40 grand a week.
Yeah.
Each of you put 100 quid in, right? And sort that guy's flight out. No, serious. Because what would be a flight from Australia to
probably $1,000, $2,000.
Economy from Australia.
You're definitely not flying then. You would have been in first class, isn't it?
But have you seen the price of a first class ticket to Australia, man?
Yeah,
you buy a house for that. Man. You buy a yacht, bro. But listen, they all whipped together, like the whole squad for that game. 18 players. The 18-player squad for that game all put 100 quid in. That guy would get a flight. That'd be and for the Everton players, that would be an unbelievable gesture. I'm just suggesting.
But
I'm just suggesting Everton players out there. You can't do it for everybody, but just for that one guy who's been highlighted, get him back for this game. I think that would be a nice thing.
But what about the fans that have come from Tokyo or who haven't made the BBC News article?
Yeah, that's too bad, isn't it? They didn't make the news. I'm just saying for that one guy. You know, I mean, you can't. That's the thing. That's the thing. Sometimes when you're doing these charitable things, you can't do it for everybody. But for that one guy that's been highlighted, you say, you know what? As a gesture to you, you're the guy that's been highlighted. Here, come back. That'd be lovely.
Do you know what I've just realised we're not going to see today? You know them Pickford massive goal kicks that he does where it just hangs up in the air for like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And you've got Tarkowski trying to head it on. I didn't fancy that, I'll be honest. I didn't.
Sean Dyche is going like this, man. You know what I mean? Because he would have loved
in the changing room.
He would have loved it. Jacob Weddell says, I view it as an advantage. Imagine we're still 4 points ahead in a couple of months. How will Arsenal react if we make it 7 again with less games to go?
That's true. That's a good point. It's another way to spin it.
Yep. Remember, it's not just Arsenal. Chelsea, same amount. Chelsea are actually in second. And, you know, you've also City ain't out of this yet. They're not out.
No.
Jamili says, hello from Tokyo. Stay safe, AGT, YNWA.
G Millie, big up to G Millie, man. She's a massive Liverpool fan who is actually Australian but lives in Tokyo. So big her up. She's always locked in. Shout her out. By the way, just whilst we're on here, Rob, and we've got this audience, right? It's a bit of a shameless one, but the COP TV is like 140 subscribers away from 50K. So if you are a Liverpool fan watching this stream right now, please, I'm going to do a video on this straight after on the COP TV. Go over and subscribe. Get the big dog to 50K.
Definitely, guys. Definitely. He's doing a great job. It's a great channel. This is one of the funniest comments that I've seen so far. Getting David Coote officiating Liverpool one last time, preferably for the rearranged Merseyside derby at Goodison.
That is a disgrace. Nah, mate. No.
Hey, I love that one. Big up to BF, man.
The last time he officiated in a Merseyside derby, he didn't send Pickford off for snapping Virgil's ACL when he was out for 18 months. So I never want to see that guy again.
You're never going to see him again, trust
And
me.
if I do see him,
you won't be seeing him again. Liam Bryan says, Arsenal would love to compare my shirt collection to Turkish's for your information.
I thought he said something else.
Turkish's shirt collection is very impressive.
Yo, that guy's got a serious collection.
Serious collection, man.
Couple fakes in there, but serious collection as well.
Couple what?
Couple fakes.
Fakes? Oh, no, come on, man. I've got to defend my guy, man.
He knows I'm joking. He knows I'm joking.
Don't do that, man. He gave me that classic blue one. The classic blue
nice one, that.
Nice. You know what, right? When he gave me that, he gave me it for my birthday. And I absolutely loved the shirt. And I remember I tried it on and it was too tight. And I was like,
tight up.
So I love this shirt, man. I said, boy, you know what?
I'll
keep it for a bit, man. Hopefully I lose weight. Then I remember about a year after I tried it again, still tight. And then I saw him. I said, you know what, Turkish? I'd rather give you the shirt back because then you could probably sell it or use it. But then since the start of this year, when I've really gone at this weight loss thing, it fits perfect now. We did an interview the other day. We did an interview the other day with Martin Keown and I had it on. It's a brilliant shirt. But his shirt collection is impressive. Liam Bryan also says flights cost 2,500 Australian dollars to fly from London, for your information.
That one way.
Dream. What's that in pounds?
That's like.
Let me do it. I'll get a conversion.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say £1,500 that costs. So what you're saying now, Rob, is you need the Everton players to put 200 quid in each, not 100 quid, because they need to buy the flight back as well.
The whole squad. Hold on, I'm converting it now. Right.
I'm going to say 1,500 quid. Big up Turkish as well.
£1,254.76 is on the current conversion. So 13 players out of that squad put 100 quid each, £100 each, and honestly do one of the nicest gestures you could do to a fan. Yeah, that one fan. You can't do it for everybody.
What about the return leg? What, is it just one way?
No, that'd be a return, wouldn't it?
No, I think that's one way. I'm telling you.
Nah, it's return. That's return.
That return?
That's return. Yeah, economy. That'd be economy. It wouldn't be business class, or that'd be economy. We got to get more AGT and Raul in the studio. Yep.
I hate seeing that guy in the studio, man, because it just means that a loss is incoming, unfortunately.
No, not the other day. Not the other day. You got one over him, man. Not many people get one over. You know what I mean? That guy doesn't get humble very much.
Yeah, we did, though. So chat up, Raul. Cállate. Hold that.
Young Jay says, I'm from Australia too, an Arsenal fan. All this talks about big teams. Arsenal is big here in Perth. We are. I remember going to Australia quite a few years ago to watch Arsenal play in Sydney. Played 2 games in the same stadium and sold them out both games, and it was brilliant. And the fans down there, and I meet so many fans from Australia. Football fans, Premier League fans in Australia, absolutely massive. Australia, great place to play football.
Yeah, man.
I think Arsenal, I heard a little rumor they could be back there this year because they're playing the FIFA Club World Cup over in America.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be many. Yeah, I don't think there's as many teams going to America. I think I get the feeling you guys might be Australia.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
And I think we might be Australia. Suj says, I paid £1,500 return over Christmas a few years ago from Australia. Economy. Big up to the Aussies in the chat. Come on, you Gunners. So 1,500. Call it 1,500 quid. Come on, man. Those players, man. Come on. Calvert-Lewin, Ashley Young, man. I saw Ashley Young, about a few months ago down in Mayfair, man. You come on. Help that fan out, man. Put the money together. Get him back over here for the return match.
By the way, there's someone in the chat saying AGT is that a hair transplant or natural? It's all natural, buddy. How much hair have you got, son? Let's get that one out there. Yeah, you sausage.
But does that parting have anything to do with the nervousness then? What that guy said earlier?
No, because it was the same when we were top of the league by 9 points last week. So that's just the style, mate. Yeah.
Grant says, Man United supporter from Johannesburg. I've always said, even Liverpool were far ahead that it's Arsenal's league this year if they buy 2 goal scorers to score 20 Premier League goals from January to May. Well, that's a very difficult thing to do. Listen, it's advantage Liverpool at the moment. Definitely.
Yeah,
but it's still a long way to go. I truly believe that it's a long way to go.
Hang on. Hamza says, since AGT said we'd win the league, it's all going downhill. Come on, bro. Come on. It can't be mine. It can't.
Imagine if they don't win the league, you've jinxed it, mate.
Bro, if you think that a presenter, a YouTuber, right, has an impact. Do you know what though? I will say this. Big up to Curtis Jones, because we put a clip out on the COP TV on Thursday after the game. And I was mentioning all the players that played really well in the game, and I forgot to mention him. And he sent me the clip because I've worked with him recently. He sent me the clip and said, "Rah, don't you remember who was running the thing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, bro, my bad."
That's embarrassing. Come on, man.
So even Curtis Jones is locked into the COP TV. Big him up, man.
He's been having a fantastic season, by the way.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah, he's been a bit unsung, but I think he's been brilliant.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
Look at this comment. This is funny. Calvert-Lewin could sell one of his handbags for that flight. Yeah, come on, Calvert-Lewin, man. You're a fashionista. You know what I mean?
Comment of the day. That
sell one item of your clothing, man. That gets that fan back to
one of his handbags. It's not even clothing; it's handbags.
You know, right? They should have a fashionista off.
Between who?
Between Calvert-Lewin. Oh, what's his name? He plays for Barcelona. Koundé.
Koundé. Yeah.
Koundé versus Calvert-Lewin. Huh?
No, bro. Van Dijk's winning that against Calvert-Lewin.
No. Van Dijk's too
traditional. A cool brother, man.
No, Van Dijk's too. I'm not on about your traditional dressers. I'm on about the guys that push the boundaries.
Quirky thing. Yeah.
The guys that push the boundaries, man. Calvert-Lewin and Koundé.
Do you remember back in the day though, when David Beckham used to wear like sarongs and mad stuff
Hector Bellerin.
What about when Beckham had plaits? Who remembers that one?
Yeah.
He met Nelson Mandela with plaits then. Crazy.
Yeah, some of them said that he'd before that he'd rolled through Brixton and buck up on a couple girl down there. You know what I mean? Are you in here, Beckham?
Big D Becks in the house.
Beckham, come true.
Beckham.
Liam Brown says, Robbie, please say that's true. Come down to Melbourne and see the support, even have an Arsenal tattoo. Yeah, listen, there's massive. Every week I meet loads of fans from Australia. You know, it's funny enough, when we do that game against you guys, there's loads. Australian on Liverpool side, Australian on Arsenal side, loads. You could afford 2,000 to see Everton. You will be okay.
I don't know if anyone would pay that to watch Everton. By the way, did you see that story I tagged you in, Rob? I was doing my fan cams the other night, and this guy was from Barbados. Did you see?
Yeah.
He's from Barbados. He went, "Tell Robbie I'm a sausage, Robbie, dumpling."
Yeah, boy, you know what I mean? Rudy Cart Game says, start a GoFundMe page, AGT. Well, he's actually an Everton fan, so I think it's more for the Evertonians. And as I said,
mate,
the players,
you mad?
It'd be a great gesture, honestly. Like in this time where players get criticised, and a lot of times unfairly, because a lot of these players do stuff for charities. They don't hail it out there. They don't, you know what I mean? I know that with a lot of players, and then they get heavily criticised, right? And it's not fair. So in this time where, you know, as with this, it'd be such a nice gesture, because that was going to be, the guy's probably done that because the last game, last Merseyside derby at Goodison in the Premier League, until before they moved to a new stadium. It'd be a lovely gesture. So just putting it out there.
Times are tight at Goodison Park though, Rob. I don't know if they've got the P's to do that.
No, well, the officials might know, but the players are still getting their piece. Victor Last says, AGT, you sausage. Is there any chance they play tomorrow?
No, because we've got chat. Mate, I'm flying to Girona first thing on Tuesday morning, so I bloody hope it's not tomorrow.
Yeah. You're gonna have to give me a scouting report on that because we're going to Girona in January.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you. Are
Are
you gonna stay
going? Are you going via Barcelona?
Yeah, I'm flying to Barca,
And
staying in
driving?
Barca, and then we're probably just gonna get there's a train that goes to Girona. It's about
Oh,
45
okay.
minutes from Barca, so we'll just jump on
Yeah,
there. Because
yeah.
me and Jack could probably have a few drinks as well, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
we're doing the same thing. So we're flying. We haven't decided where we're staying yet. Whether we'll
I can
stay
get you
in
a discount
Girona.
hotel though.
Okay, well, let's
In
do it.
Barca. If you stay in Barca, I can get you discount in
All right, we stay
hotel.
in Barcelona. Listen, Barcelona's
A
a
lot
lovely
cheaper.
city, man.
Yeah, trust
Lovely
me.
city, and
I'll talk to you about that after.
that European flights worked out okay because the game is actually in Girona. If they had direct flights to Girona, they'd have bumped it up as they always do.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's going to.
My flights were £40 return, Rob.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the other day we went Inter. Those flights were about 300 quid each. The following week, those flights were 30 quid.
Yeah, mental, innit?
Yeah.
Absolutely mental.
Couple more super chats here before we go. Jay says, Robbie, cooking X and KG on the same week was great. You got to watch.
Great show yesterday, man. Brilliant show.
Did you see my QVC shot?
Do you know what? That was absolutely unreal. And
did you see the Sol Campbell picture?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Let me tell you a story about that Sol Campbell picture. One of my neighbours, is a massive Tottenham fan. Yeah. And he goes, Robbie, one day he goes, Robbie, I've left you something out in your on the car park of your house. He goes, especially from me. So I get home now and I see this thing. I'm thinking, what is this? When I opened it, I saw that. I started laughing. So I called him. I go, yeah, where do you get that? Right? He goes, listen, he goes, I had that, right? I've had that for years and years. He goes, I've had that probably 30 years or whatever, 25 years, right? And he goes, obviously, I used to have it up in my room. And he goes, when Sol Campbell went to Arsenal, right? He goes, I took it down, man. I threw it in my loft. And he goes, it's been up there ever since. So it's a genuine thing from all that. Must be worth quite a bit of money, to be fair.
I mean, right? Yeah, X isn't a fan of it, is he? But
if I gave that to him, he'd smash it up.
I can actually vouch for you as a QVC presenter because my mum, you've met my mum. My mum used to be a QVC presenter.
Yeah.
So you did a very good job.
What did she make of my effort?
I'd have to show her it. She hasn't seen it yet, but I'll show her it and get some feedback.
Show her it and say to her if I would have got a job there. Young Gay says, no Chelsea and Tottenham fans here in Australia.
Yeah,
Liam Bryan says, where do I do a petition for Saka Odegaard to give me and my wife a ticket? Concessor and James Supplier. It ain't that easy. Listen, there is a circumstance around this one. The fact that the guys travelled out for the last game at that stadium. And Suz says 4.2k here, hit up COP TV, 50k incoming. Guys, let's do that.
Come on, G.
Let's after this, go on there, even if you're not a supporter of Liverpool, because the content's brilliant. If you want to see authentic content around Liverpool, AGT's at the games. You heard him, he's going to Girona. That effort alone to fly from here to Girona to bring you content around that Liverpool game deserves a sub. So go along and sub to the COP TV. Let's get it to 5,000. 50,000.
Yeah.
5,000.
Man's going backwards. I was trying to take 45k off me.
Come on, man. Let's get there. Just go there. I talked about those players giving a nice gesture today. Let's do this for AGT. He's got no football to watch. Yeah, right. He's got no football to watch today. Game's been cancelled. Go over there. Subscribe to his channel. What time are you doing the stream, by the way?
I'm gonna, as soon as this is finished, I'm gonna do another video, I think, on the COP TV.
Another video coming up on the COP TV. We are actually finishing now. We've been going for just over an hour. I really want to thank people for joining us. And let me just recap again on the news in case you obviously know what it is now because the game would have been played right now. The Merseyside derby between Everton and Liverpool at Goodison Park has been postponed on safety grounds because of the severe weather caused by Storm Dara. which has been sweeping across the UK, but particularly bad up in the northwest. And Everton issued a statement. They said, whilst we appreciate that this will be deeply disappointing for supporters, the safety of the fans, staff and players is of paramount importance. And Liverpool backed up that statement by saying, due to the risk of safety in the local area, the game has been cancelled. No noise yet on when the game will be rearranged, but it will be rearranged. And that is the big breaking news today. AGT, thank you very much. Once again, remind them about your stream coming up straight after this, probably in about the next 10 minutes on the COP TV.
Yeah, I'm going to do a pre-recorded video, which kind of just sums up the pluses and minuses of this. By the way, just since you've said that, Rob, the subs, we've got like 20 more subs. So I only need 100 more people. I need
100 more. Get on there. Come on, let's do that. Let's do that, man. Today, let's get that channel up to 50,000 subs, as I said.
It's got to happen
Every week, these guys at Merseyside, up there at Liverpool doing games, doing watch-alongs, you know what I mean, traveling over to Girona to bring you content. You know what I mean? Even if you're not a fan sometimes, it's that authentic content. I'm a big supporter of this. I mean, what club you're at, it's a big, big thing when these guys are doing this stuff for you guys week in, week out. So get over there and support it. One more super chat coming in. Last one from Clara Bitzi. Our good friend Clara Bitzi says, advice to title rivals, Arsenal, no benefit for us top 4 aspirants. Clara, you, Matisse, you're bottle jobs. Admit it now. You're in the title race. And if you don't admit it,
jeez.
What, should we ban her from the channel? No, she does come with a lot of super chats.
We can't do that.
Come on, Clara. Be brave and admit you are in a title race. Anyway, Clara, big up yourself. Have yourself a great weekend. And you guys out there as well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to sub to the COP TV and DR Sports.
Big up, bro.
And we will be back, of course, on Monday with a weekend roundup. Take care, guys.